Hey foodies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making Efo Riro. This is vegetable soup. This recipe will blow your mind away. So if you're a first timer, you are most definitely welcome. Please grab your popcorn and let's get cooking. So let me tell you something. If you're making Efo Riro and you're not using Shoko leaves, I'm not sure it's Efo Riro you're making. Maybe you're just making vegetable soup or something. But this is VIP. For this recipe, we're also going to be using some goat's meat, amongst others. So if you know your meat well, you will know that this Ponmo is the original Ponmo. It has not been soaked and nothing has been added to it at all. It is just the original Ponmo and it tastes very, very Ponmo-ish. So this is what I'm going to be using. You're going to see how it's going to turn out. Here we have some onions and some yellow pepper. This is some of the tomatoes and tatashe that we're going to be using for this recipe. We're also going to be using some dry prawns. I think it's called Orjingene crayfish. Correct me if I'm wrong. I always have dry fish on standby whenever I want to make any kind of meal I want to make, especially for this vegetable soup. So if I'm making any kind of soup, this is my go-to seasoning cube because it has the crayfish in it, it has the stockfish, it has the smoked fish. So I just love this seasoning cube. And now that meat is properly washed, I'm going to add the Ponmo to the goat's meat and then add some onions. I love the flavor Cameroon pepper gives to the food, so I'm just going to be using some of it. Add some salt, some seasoning cubes. And the next thing we're going to do is to stir the meat. Make sure the whole ingredients are well combined. Now we just cover and allow it to boil for about 5 minutes before adding water. So our meat has been boiling for about 5 minutes and now I'm adding some water. This stage is completely optional. I can decide to just cook it straight up with your water, but I just wanted to season the meat. It's still going to come out nicely whether you do it or not. So it practically just depends on your preference on how you want it. Afterwards, you cover and allow it to continue cooking. Personally, I love to get my meal prep ready as the meat is cooking. So while the meat is on fire, I'm cutting the vegetables and it kind of saves me a lot of time. And for the vegetable, you don't have to cut it so nicely, so just chop it. It doesn't have to be thinly cut. But also remember to always check your food on fire, so you don't say because I told you to get your meal prep as the meat is cooking, now forget that you left something on fire. Please, oh, eh? For the stockfish, I always prefer soaking it inside hot water to help me debone the fish, and then most importantly to get rid of any yama that might be inside the fish to, I don't like to see something. So because I love using male goat meat, whenever I'm using goat meat, I love to use the male goat meat. It doesn't take a long time to cook. It takes there about 15 minutes, and then once that is done, you fry your meat. And one warning I'm going to give you is don't try to test the goat meat, because once you test it, you cannot stop. So just fry it and set it aside. Make sure you have someone that is policing you if you cannot hold yourself. I've just added the red oil. Next thing we're going to be adding once it's well heated is our chopped onions and some of those atarodo. I love the osensuka. And once you've added the pepper and the onions, you stir it for a few minutes before you proceed to the next stage. If you know the flavor the crayfish gives when you add it at this stage, it's out of this world. You see this Iro, or let's say the locust beans, if you buy the good one, let me just keep it short, there's a difference when you add it and when you don't add it. Just take it from me. So now we're going to add the tomato and the pepper mix. Please try to give it your undivided attention, because you don't want it getting burnt. And when you give it your undivided attention, your meal will thank you for it. After a few minutes, we are going to be adding our stockfish, our dry prawns, the Orjingene crayfish. I don't know if it's called Orjingene crayfish, and then the Ponmo. Add everything, and I don't know what to say to you, Sha, but you really need to try it out to kind of experience firsthand what I'm talking about. The flavor that is going on in your pot is nothing to, it's like there's nothing to compare. And so if you listen to my warning and maybe heat the goat meat, go and bring it from that place that you heat it and add it to this our pot of flavor. Lord, I'm singing like my heart's. Now you have to be very careful of the salt you're adding to the meat, so just check for salt and add if you need more. After about 10 minutes of fire, we're going to add the meat stock. Now with the kind of traffic we're generating in this our pot, the goat meat, the Ponmo, the stockfish, the dry prawns, everything, they are just working so well together. And I love the union that we are just creating. Now, before adding the Shoko leaves, we are going to blanch it first with hot water before doing so. So I'm going to tell you a very short story about how I discovered Efo Riro, the real Efo Riro. So I went to a restaurant, it was in Abuja, and then I ordered for rice with vegetable, and then that was vegetable they gave me, and I was like, wow, what vegetable is this? It was so yummy. It was like, no, I said I have to go and do my research and find out how to make this. And then I tried it out with ugu. It was nice, but it didn't quite get to it. I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the one from the restaurant, until someone told me that the leaves was different and all that. So I said, no, I'm going to buy the leaves and make it to be sure. And then ever since I made it, it was so yummy. And whenever I want to make something special in the house, maybe there's a special occasion, this eforiro is my go-to every time. And the fact that I can eat it with either rice or swallow is so amazing. Now I'll just cover for about 5 minutes before turning off the heat. Don't you love the view of what you're seeing? So now we just give it a final stir and quickly turn off the heat. Don't mind me, this crayfish I'm adding it's just paparazzi. So just turn off the heat, your food is done, and just serve with either rice or swallow. So for these, thank you so much for staying to the end, for those that did. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe, and I would love to see you in my next videos. Always come back for more, share with a friend, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.